former CBS anchor Ben Swan, and the pandemic documentary filmmaker Mickey Willis. We've also brought in RFK Jr. As it sounds like more than just a content contributor at this point. I think we're adding him as a strategic partner. But yeah, we're working on other big names as well. Um,
But
and
let me clarify, it's nonpartisan, right? We agreed that it's not going to
yeah,
be, nothing is going to be, it's just going to be completely truth. And I love that on the platform, you're doing something that is like, if people like what you're doing, then they tip the producers and then they also, if they don't like what you're doing, is how do you, is that I was excited about that. So is it self governing, or how is that
wish,
working?
yeah, I wish Patrick Devereaux, our CFO, was able to join me here. He can go into depth and talk about how if you post, information that's untrue, yeah, it will uh, affect your pocketbook. Um,
Interesting.
and
And is it self-governing? So I've talked to so we're excited about this because we are all about truth seeking and truth telling, but we don't want it to be like, it's not so we have to make sure it's nonpartisan. That's the main thing, is so that
yeah,
so we just are looking for people that want the truth, and they might not like it, but this is the truth. And
yeah.
then, or they might like it and this is the truth. But but
And I'll give
they were
you
saying, is it self-governing, or there's not going to be a board that looks out, how is that going to work?
yeah. Well, a little background on me. I come from Free and Equal Election Foundations. We host open presidential debates, independent and third-party candidates from the Green Party, Libertarian, Justice, you name it. Um, and so that's where I come from. I'm an advocate of more voices, more choices, and greater debate. Um, and yeah, that's my passion. Um, and yeah, we see that we've got, I think it's more than 40% of the electorate now doesn't is independent, doesn't consider themselves Democrat or Republican.
Yes.
I'm in that camp, and we don't have a home. When it comes to media, it's either left or right. And so yeah, we're looking to build something for that 40% that doesn't identify either way. But voices from both camps will be welcome at ISE.media. Uh, and
Yeah.
RFK Jr. definitely
So back
a
to the
Democrat.
question on how is it not censored, but how is it regulated? Is it self-regulating? We do it as a
Yeah,
community?
our exit plan is to become a DAO, um, and yeah, we're as long as you're not advocating violence, um, as long as you're not posting pornography, we're not going to censor you. But it's up to the community to to push good content up and bad content down.
And can you limit what you see? Can you say, like, as a user, if I want to only see certain things and I don't like this
Yeah,
group of
yeah,
people, I can say, I don't want that
yeah.
on my feed.
Like similar to a Facebook page, you'll be able to have your own page, and you
Uh-huh.
can follow content creators that you want to follow.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
this platform going to be on its own server?
So it'll be on the blockchain. We were going to launch yesterday, but or Tuesday, uh, day before yesterday, right?
Yeah.
But because of um, the so so yeah, RFK Jr. bringing his entire platform under our roof, and knowing that that's going to um, make us a bigger target. We're waiting until everything is moved off of our high risk servers and onto the blockchain, where it's not impossible to kick us off, but extremely hard. We'll be on, I think I was told 100+ nodes worldwide. So yeah.
Wow. So Paul or Leo or Tony, Alberto, Martin, you guys have anything, other questions besides the girl questions I've been asking?
I think you're asking the right question, Rosalie, and then it'd be interesting to learn more about the tipping infrastructure and how that works as a way for people to be able to evaluate when they look at a particular post, whether it is one-sided or whether different kinds. There's a guy I was talking to a while ago who was thinking about a model where articles or stories would be evaluated by having people from different perspectives come and evaluate them and say, hey, this is useful to me, this is interesting to me. So I'm more likely to look at an article that's been looked at by a libertarian, a conservative, a Green Party member, a hardcore progressive, and they all found something in it, than I am that's just everybody who watches Fox News loves it. So there's a lot to be done, but I'm great that you're actually looking at basically the concept of micropayments for
Good content.
for reporting, right? Because that's a great way to get feedback and see how people are responding to it. And then the challenge is, how do we do that so we're rewarding good, nutritious calories, carrots and lettuce, and not just junk food, right? But you guys got to start.
Yeah, we've been at it for a while behind the scenes. We had issues with our content being censored going back to we did a video on the origins of ISIS, and the director of antiwar.com is a friend of mine. We interviewed her, and they didn't just shadow ban us, they full on banned the video. They pulled it. Google, YouTube pulled it. I think that was the first of ours that got full on pulled.
Based off of what content? I mean, what reason?
They said it was an algorithm, and because I honestly can't remember exactly. But it wasn't just that video that we had problems with. We had a lot of our content that had previously been getting huge amounts of views, such as the one we did on the origin of ISIS, which on Facebook had like 50 some million views, and they flipped a switch, and we went from getting millions of views on our videos to just a trickle.
And you're talking ISIS in as far as the military group, not ISIS, the superpower girl, right? Not that ISIS. Okay.
Correct.
Because I thought, well, maybe there's some truth about ISIS in her superpowers. Anyway, Leo, you're smiling. I like that you get my sense of humor. Anyway, Leo, do you have any questions for Zach? You guys are both in the IT tech business, and Tony as well. So I would love to get some input from these guys.
Yeah. So I've been working in a similar space. So coming at it kind of from a different angle. I'm looking at it within the Medium ecosystem specifically. But so you say that this whole thing is done like via the blockchain. So can you talk a little bit more about what that is, like which blockchain it's on, kind of how that's playing out?
That
I'm curious to more specific implementation.
Yeah, that would be a question for Patrick, who unfortunately isn't here. I'm not a tech guy.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So he put his site also. I just want to make sure everyone knows down here in the site here is the demo. So if you want to look at the demo, he's got it in the chat, and you can see it on that as well.
Yeah. So how I came to be working with Ben Swan back when in 2012, when Free and Equal hosted an open presidential debate that Larry King moderated for us. We wanted Ben Swan sitting next to Larry King, and about an hour before we went live, Ben got a call from the network he was working with at the time, and they told him, if you go on stage with Larry King, don't come to work tomorrow. So that was my introduction to just how controlled journalists are in this country. Yeah, that's how I came to work with Ben Swan. About 6 months later, he called me up and said, I'm interested in going independent, and would you be interested in coming with me? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And,
Tony,
yeah,
you got any questions for him? Any comments?
No, not this time.
Okay. So what we would do with you is look at the platform and upload some of our content onto your platform. I don't know if you had a chance to look at some of our other Zooms that we've had. And, the thing with Regener8tive is we have 4 different deliverables. So the 4 is, one, we have everyone that joins our group pays $25 just to join the group. It's cheap enough, but yet it's a little bit of cost so that everybody can be on the same page. And the other 3 deliverables are that you have action group meetings that we get together every week, and they're quick, but we start to talk about solutions that we're working on or things that come up that are kind of on the fringe, and see if there's anyone in our group, and they listen to these I send them out or upload them onto the YouTube channel. So then they look at them and people will call me and say, hey, I was interested. Can you set up a meeting with me with those guys? And that's what we do. So that's the second deliverable. The third is that when you have a solution that repairs damage and or a solution that's a viable option that goes through a vetting process. So Tony does the vetting for us to make sure that everybody's ready for funding, because he's been regulated. So we make sure that we're, got everybody who's ready for funding in place. And so he goes through that, and we get a discount from him instead of it being $25,000, which is what they normally charge for a total, 334 assessment due diligence package, which would cost you that. He gives us a discount, and it's only 2,500. So it's a good deal. And then with that, we vet you and put you in front of investors and other things that see your product. And then the fourth thing is that for a monthly membership, if you want to get a monthly membership to become more ready for evacuation or emergency prepared stuff, we send you stuff that in the mail, and we refresh it based on your level of membership with stuff, so that if you get, we can buy it in bulk and we can get it to you cheaper than you can get it on by yourself. And so we're just trying to keep a community so that they all have emergency prepared stuff that they can take with them if they need to. And it's always just a good idea, and you use it, it's something you use on a regular basis. And so it's just in one location, and we kind of do a little bit of we have a specialist that does this for a living to help people get more emergency prepared. So those are the 4 deliverables for $25. It's a good deal. And then, like I said, then the monthly membership is something that we add to it. So anybody that wants to get on that, it's in addition to. So any questions about how, so we would upload our information. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cover upload our information on your website, and people can look at it there. And, we can promote you where we're at. We can promote this media as well. So.
Yeah, awesome. And you've already talked with Annabelle.
Yeah.
She's our director of content acquisition.
Yeah.
So we're good there. When it comes to investment, I think from my understanding, we're good. We raised about 500K on a crowdfunder that we wrapped up in January. And we have an accelerator behind us that has a team of about 50 developers that have been working on the site. And it sounds like next Tuesday we'll be wrapping up our Series A. So yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're good, and I no longer have to pester people for investment. So
that's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. And on to funding my other project, which is Free and Equal Election Foundation. So
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Who doesn't want that? Except for, I think about maybe 569 people. But I think maybe 573 or so, or I don't know, give or take. But I think all the rest of us would like to see that we know our vote counts. You know, I just think that no matter where you're voting, I think you want to make sure that your vote counts, and
Yeah.
and it's free and fair. Can't beat cheaters, right? I guess you can't beat cheaters, but you gotta join together to beat cheaters. And I don't know who's cheating, if there's any cheating. I'm just sad that there's even that claim. That's what makes me sad, you know? I don't know what the truth is, but even that we can make that claim is a sad day, is a real sad day. So I want to get to the point where that's not even an option, you know? Nobody can make that claim anymore, because that's gut wrenching. Anybody else have any comments and questions and want to go through so let's introduce you, Zach. So Leo, since you're just to the right of me, if you want to just tell him quickly what you do, and then we'll, again, want to just make it quick. So we've got questions for you.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Leo, founder and CEO of DefiNet, banking for creators by creators. I started blogging about 6 months ago and realized that, like, as it's set up, Medium, you can make a living as a blogger there, but there's a lot more to it. You have to set up an entire business around it. So kind of looking at that, and I met my co-founder, who's a fintech guy in India. Has been introducing me to fintech, and that's when I realized that there's an opportunity there to kind of build out a more collaborative ecosystem around creators in general. So we're kind of building out a fintech solution to that, and right now looking at actually implementing NFTs essentially for Medium articles. So that's kind of the new idea we're looking at as a way to start generating some interest in kind of this more collaborative effort, to where so like the writer will take a percentage of the article, the editor, and then potentially just, you know, giving away part of the ownership to the audience. So that's what we're playing around with now. Yeah.
Hey, does anyone have any questions for him?
And what kind of content at Medium are you producing?
So it's just it's blogging. I blog about all sorts of topics, mostly around launching a startup, about the whole blogging thing. So I'm building in public. I'm doing everything. It's a very transparent process. So you know, being open about the whole process is a way to say, like, okay, this is what's working, this is what doesn't. You know, here's the models in play. So yeah, definitely like the idea of transparency through the whole thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, get more transparent than Regener8tive. So we're pretty
Right.
open kimono here. Yeah, there's nothing to hide. Anybody else? Yeah, you and I need to see if we can bring more, I don't know where your audience is, but bring kind of a collaborative effort together here on something, and maybe let's brainstorm over that. And, you know, if you want to, we can talk about it again another time, but we'll record it so it's all transparent. We'll have a little conversation about it.
Sounds great.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Tony, since you're to the left, and then Paul, you're next, because I don't see Martin's and Alberto's faces yet. So I'll just say, Tony, is there anything that can you tell Zach what you do? I think I told him, but just in case. On the group.
Yeah, you already pitched me so well, Rosalie. I don't know what much more you need. Look, I'm Tony Drexel Smith, been doing underwriting, due diligence, and financial packaging for 25 years. My team just built a library of my life's work, and they came up with over 1,400 finished projects, 250 some odd startups.
Wow.
Pretty crazy that they libraried all that so that they could have that material for future use. Ultimately, I'm the managing director for underwriting due diligence for an investment bank based out of San Francisco called US Capital Global Partners. I run our team out of Las Vegas because we tend to recruit MBA level people out of UNLV and then have them come work in our office here. We are based out of the the governor's Office of Economic Development building in the Innovation Center. We've got UNLV here, based out of here, as well as a number of the entities. BDO, the 7th largest finance company in the world, is moving into our building on the 2nd floor. We've got an accelerator here, an incubator here, and we coordinate all of that to support the clients that come through the building here. We are a consulting firm to Regener8tive. I've been working with Rosalie for years, many years. Our first project was, gosh, 2016, 5 years ago, and known her ever since. So we've seen a lot of stuff together. We see a lot of dreams, and what we try to do is have a good balance of, optimism with realism. And that balance of optimistic realism is the term I like to use, is the name of the game. I did create a system known as the TASOS report. That's a transaction analysis, situation analysis, scoring software. And it's an objective and subjective way to do due diligence quickly and efficiently. Our investment bank on average charges $35,000 for due diligence and compliance and underwriting. That's not a number I throw out arbitrarily. That's a true number. We have a number of clients that paid over $60,000 in the first quarter. So the TASOS program, though, really provides a very good broad overview for only $2,500 bucks. And forgive me, but this is an investor call I have to take, so I'll be back.
Paul.
Oh, Brian.
Great, thanks, Rosalie. So hey guys, Leo, I owe you a text back. I have a LinkedIn message back. So I've been working with Rosalie for a number of years on the question of how we bring accountability, and particularly into our political space, but just in general in society. So I'm really working on the concept of how we get people aligned with each other on what it is they're actually promising each other they'll do, and what it's reasonable to expect from each other. So building that both as a practice and as technology. So, really sort of looking at the world and realizing we have all kinds of things that throw things at us, say, do this, lists, objects, etc. We don't focus enough on our relationships. The fact I promised Rosalie I was going to do something, I promised myself I was going to do something, and then balancing that against your human capacity, your bandwidth, the other things going on in your life. Again, we all just take on things and we never really look at what our abilities are or what our capabilities are. That means we can't communicate honestly with each other about that. So the first element of accountability is honest communication. Really working on how to make that as simple and easy to access as possible. I'm going to share a quick analogy with you guys. Is enormously different when you send someone an email and say, hey, can you help me with this? And they say, sure, I'm on it. Versus when you send them a calendar invite and you say, hey, do you agree to meet Thursday at 12:30 via this Zoom line? And you hit accept, and you know that that person's now their calendar actually shows that. And your calendar, you're going to work 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day. It's all within that human time frame. So you know immediately when you're overbooked, right? But when we commit to a task, we don't have any idea if we're overbooked, and that's why we're constantly overbooked, overpromising and underproducing. And so we're working on fixing that. This Rosalie's a great match for this passion and the culture of accountability and Regener8tive in general.
Thanks. Does anybody have any questions for him? I know all the answers because I've asked him all the questions, but does anybody else have a question for him? I love that it's an accountability app, right? So that's.
Well, it's interesting, Rosalie. So, in all transparency, guys, we had been taking our first version. Actually, the first version was analog, and the first version of technology, and then looking at, okay, how do we really make that easier to use, simpler, more effective, and actually getting back a little bit more to treating it less like an app and more like a currency, right? Again, when I exchange $1, you say, hey, I have an orange and it costs $1. I immediately know, well, how much work did it take me to make $1? And what else can I buy for $1? It's a common understanding about the value, right? We need something like that about the things that we do for each other, which again would make it a lot easier to understand when I promise you I'm going to do something, what's it actually going to take me to do that? And really agreeing to that before you start relying on me.
Yeah. Yeah, an accountability app that you can form an economy around. That's what I've
Yeah,
been
exactly.
trying to get him, push him to do. So, all right. All right, Martin, are you available? I think your phone is, I'm not sure if your phone is working or if you, Alberto says that it's noisy where he's at and he won't be able to talk, but does Martin have, if he's not available, I can tell what I know we tried to have a conversation yesterday on Clubhouse, but his phone does not work there for whatever reason, his audio. So he's got a process that actually converts waste using an inoculant that he has that in a group and some processing, changes. So he can take waste, and they have documents and studies to show that they can take he says 80 to 90%. I'm just saying 60 because then that's always a good thing when you do 80. But he can take all the waste and convert it into compost in about 10 weeks. And that's 80%. So it doesn't go into the landfills, but we can use it for roads and construction and stuff for dirt. And it's sterile, and you can not sterile, but it's it's detoxed, so it doesn't have toxins in it. And they have the studies to back all that. So I would love to see that these are the kind of solutions that we get behind that make a difference, and not just, cookie cutting the same thing over and over again that only help a few. We want to help the many. I think everybody on this call is about helping the many, so, and Alberto does the same thing. He has a oil and gas. He helps the many. He's refurbing old oil and gas that are toxic and bad for our environment, and he's refurbing them to get them into a place where we can become less energy dependent. And we're earlier, but they, with the pipelines they closed. But now that he's available to do this rehab, basically he's rehabbing old oil wells, and they have a very unique process of identifying them that is environmentally friendly. And so we don't, dig a bunch of holes that are dry, which causes problems in our crust. So I like that, again, he's helping the many. So everybody on this call is our common denominator is that we are collaborating on helping the many. And I think that's a good place to start. And the more that we align together, the faster we can move the dial on this. So if there isn't, I try to stay around 12:30. If there isn't any other questions from anybody or comments, I have one thing I want to ask. And just wondering if
Yeah, I just apologize for having to go. That was one of my largest investor clients. When he calls, I jump.
Well,
However high he wants, Rosalie.
Okay, well, glad to know that you jumped for money.
I do jump for money, especially with someone that wires $251 million on demand.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Those are good. Those are
I
good
jump
friends.
for that kind of money, Rosalie, not small potato stuff.
Oh, okay.
This guy's a mover shaker kind of guy.
Okay.
Anyway.
If he needs a tax write-off, Green equals 501c3. So
Yeah.
No, this is the kind of guy that just bought a casino, is buying another one, and
Yeah.
that's his game. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry for the interruption. Sorry I had to go, but if
It's okay.
there was a question or comment I missed, let me know.
My main thing is that I'm trying to figure out how we can become more effective of building a class where we just lost $1.6 trillion in it, right? The money came from the working class. That's what I heard was what was lost, this last year. And then instead it went into, we hear that 57% of the billionaires increase, or 57% of the billionaires revenue went up. I guess it was, or the revenue went up 57%. That's what it was. But the wealthiest billionaires' revenue went up 57%. So I'm trying to figure out how to make this to be a better situation. So do you feel like we're if we had a platform and we have the vetting process and we have the ability to bring in funds like crowdfunding, so all of us collectively could invest in our communities, but we collectively pool our resources and we also get an ROI just like the investors do, is that value to your group of people that you influence? Do you feel like that would be a good investment for people to get involved in and move the dial, and you know, where we are making Tony jump, because we have 250 million people that have all donated $1, and we now say we got 250 million, let's watch Tony jump. So do you guys think that's a value if we put it in an escrow account? And Tony, could we hold it in an escrow account until we actually have all of the ducks in a row? Would that be that's a viable option, right? We could level the playing field so that money is not just being made in the uber wealthy anymore.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Does anybody
most
have
funds
it?
are held in escrow. That's typically how it goes.
Yeah. So does anybody have, you know, it's a tough time now, but so the next thing we're going to do is start doing a crowdfunding, and I'm looking at a couple of different places to do crowdfunding, and we're going to go forward, and also a Reg A. So we're also doing a Reg A plus after we do the crowdfunding. So if I could have, and the money that we make in there, or the money that is donated or invested, it's actually invested, we give to projects like yours that we've been talking about. So this does behoove everybody on the call. Zach, you say you're well funded, but you've got another thing that you need funding for. So this would be where I need the next steps. So I'm going to be reaching out and letting you guys know the capital raises and what we're doing. And then I need you to push it to your networks, and let's start opening up the floodgates of the building the middle class. Does anybody have any questions about that or comments?
I guess just to add to that, crypto has been called the largest transfer of wealth from the haves to the have-nots in world history. And Gather Network is how we've been making money. It allows websites to, again, I wish Patrick was here to explain this. To basically, visitors to your website can agree to, allow Gather to use their CPU power, and a website that gets about 1 million visitors a month can expect to make about $4 grand. So without advertising. So we've already signed on with it at ISE.media. We bought a couple nodes, so we actually made quite a bit more than the $4 grand without the traffic, just because we own nodes.
So how would that apply with what I was saying? How would that build the middle class or the working class?
Yeah, well, I just recommend getting involved in crypto.
Okay.
There's a lot of utility tokens out there, and you can turn a little bit into a lot.
Well, that's what we could do. We could go into that crypto world and gather investments from there. And Tony, can that be taken in crypto? Can we take crypto in investment forms like that? Is there a place for that in?
Doing a transaction tomorrow morning where we're doing 50 units of 58,000.
So yeah, so that's the thing. If we were
have a lot of clients with crypto, guys. I mean, a lot of our clients have had crypto for 2, 3, 4 years. Buy low, sell high. That's the name of the game, right? So right now, crypto's at an all-time. It was at 54 a week ago, 58 this week. So definitely, crypto is, it's like the shake the money tree. It's an issue of timing. You have a great deal at the time that they, exit out.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So
well,
Bitcoin has had quite a run, right? It's been up, down, up, down. Right now, 58,662. So
yeah. There's a lot of other.
You can bet that this with the holiday weekend, everything else, there's probably gonna be a lot of Bitcoin movement in the next few days. Anyway, yeah, we've got one client alone. The people just, you got to realize that some people have had money in the stock market, some in cryptos, some have a balanced portfolio of real estate and all other things. It's just a matter of, if you have the right deal at the right time with the right investor, that is half the battle. In fact, if you read my book, you'll see that in my book, we've outlined 13 specific things that have to happen in order for a deal to get funded. And one of them is timing.
mm-hmm.
Right.
By the way, another one is some manifestation of luck. And you might call luck prayer. You might call luck the universe. You might call luck whatever you like, meditation of some kind,
Lady.
God, whatever you want. But ultimately, that piece of it, that manifestation of the law of attraction must be in your favor as well.
And I would add incredible amounts of persistence and being told no, you know, a million times before getting that millionth and first, you know, yes. So
Anyone that knows me knows that I promote that every day. In fact, my entire staff hears me say it almost every day. I never quit.
yeah, definitely.
You can't quit. Once you commit, you just see it all the way through. Miss Rose
Especially-
can tell you, I'm a
Yeah,
painful
and
example
he's
of never quit.
right, and he's watched me. We don't quit. We keep going. We've you know, we when we stepped up and said we were going to serve, and we were here to serve and do for the greater good, and also benefit ourselves at the same times, because we do believe sometimes the givers should get back. You know, we think that that's a good business model. Otherwise, it's just to keep giving out. Doesn't work for everyone. But giving out and getting back is a really good model. And we just, when you show up to serve, and you're going to do that and help the greater good. I mean, this is what we're going to do, is move forward. So we are going to start a crowdfunding. We're going to, this will be something that we'll be doing this next month. This month we'll get ready for it. And I think we're on to a big, you know, and promoting these things that you guys are doing and the solutions. Last question, we're going to wrap this up, but would anybody think it's a good idea to have an investment into a community that if there was a dire need that we needed to get out of our cities for some reason, that there would be a place there that you would pay, say, $10,000 for your share. You had to be vetted though, because we don't want any riffraff and people have to get along. So it would be a small communities, but a community where you would go and there would be water, food, and shelter there. But it would be $10,000 a year to upkeep, because we would have to keep it replenished and moving forward. Is that of any value? Just let me just see a raise of hands of who would want more information about something like that. Raise your hand if you want more information. If that's not of any value, that you feel that you wouldn't want to know a place that you would have, you know, it's like your food storage basically. So anyone interested in that?
So
Getting more information.
Rosalie, this is different from like a place in the country you might visit regularly, but also as a place you might go in case there was a disaster or an issue? Like,
no, it'd be the same thing. It'd have a lake. It's got a boat there. So you would go there once a year. We talked about this. Once a year you would show up. It's kind of a timeshare, but it's not really a timeshare. It's a timeshare, but it's a share, a property share, but it's a cool place. You know, there's the horses there or a boat or something for your family to do. But once a year you go and you only have a week that you're there. But then other time, if we needed to, it does then second as a place where everybody could live for a year. We would grow enough food and water for a year. And we believe that we could do it indefinitely if we can get processors on there that are off the grid. So we would have a little retreat. So for $10,000, you have a retreat and a safe place. Anybody interested in that with that idea? It's just working.
If it's in the Caribbean, yes.
You got to get there. So.
Yeah. That's why I live in Florida.
All right. Well, if they're going to be around all the places that you would like to visit. So let's just say that's coming next. That's phase 2. All right. Yeah. Thank you guys.
So much,
all right. Bye.
And good to meet the rest of you.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.